Buy us a house, or I'll tell everyone I'm pregnant with your child. My son's bride whispered that to me on their wedding day, right in the restaurant I built. I calmly stood up, reached into my pocket, and pulled out the one thing that made her scream. The wedding ended right there. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. You need to hear how quickly a dream can become a nightmare. The sound of champagne glasses clinking and soft jazz usually calmed me. This was my sanctuary, Linda's place. I named it after my wife. She's gone now, but every brick, every recipe, is a piece of her, a piece of us. We built this from nothing. Worked 18-hour days, saved every penny. Tonight, the restaurant was closed to the public. Tonight, it was hosting my son's wedding reception. And tonight I felt a cold dread I hadn't felt since the day Linda died. I stood near the back, watching them. Their first dance. My name is Robert. I've spent 40 years in the kitchen. Honest work. It built us a good life. Ethan, my son, looked so much like me. Tall, earnest. But he had Linda's eyes, kind eyes. He was a good kid. Maybe too good. He saw the best in everyone. It's a trait I admired, but it always worried me. He lacked the skepticism that life had hammered into me. He trusted too easily. He hadn't learned that some smiles hide teeth, and that trust was about to cost him everything. And then there was Chloe. Chloe was beautiful. No denying that. She had a smile that lit up the room, a laugh that drew everyone in. When Ethan introduced her 10 months ago, I was thrilled. He'd been so lost since Linda passed 5 years ago. Chloe seemed to bring him back to life. I wanted to believe in her. I wanted to believe in their fairy tale. But my instincts, sharpened over decades of dealing with difficult people, were screaming at me. Something dark was hiding behind that perfect smile, and I was about to find out just how dark it was. The cracks started showing months ago. Small things at first. Subtle things that didn't sit right in my gut. The wedding planning started, and the perfect facade began to crumble. It started with the catering argument. I own a successful restaurant. My staff is family. But Chloe wanted something more upscale. Something imported. She didn't say it to me first. She said it to Ethan. "Ethan, honey," she'd said one evening at my house, running a hand down his arm. I was in the kitchen, but I heard everything. "It's our wedding. It needs to be perfect. Linda's place is charming, but we need elegance. We need French chefs." Charming. The weed stung. It felt like a dismissal of my life's work, of Linda's legacy. Ethan had hesitated. "Chloe, Dad's place is amazing. It means so much to him." That's when the tears started. Soft, manipulative tears. "You don't think I deserve elegance?" she whispered, pulling away from him. "I knew it. You're embarrassed by me." Ethan crumbled instantly. "No, baby, no. Of course not." He always crumbled. I had to step in. I walked into the living room, wiping my hands on a towel. The tension in the room was thick. "The reception is my gift," I said, keeping my voice steady. "My staff deserves the honor. The menu is set." Chloe looked at me, her eyes cold for a fraction of a second. Then she turned back to Ethan, burying her face in his chest. She pouted for a week. She made Ethan miserable. I held firm. It was the first time I saw it clearly. How easily she could manipulate him. He'd do anything to stop her tears, and she knew it. It was a weapon she used often. But that was just the beginning. Then came the dress, a designer creation of lace and silk. The price tag made me dizzy. It cost more than my first car. Ethan came to me ashamed, asking for help. "Dad, it's what she wants. I can't afford it on my salary." I paid for it. I bit my tongue. I wanted Ethan to have everything, but the bills kept piling up, and they kept getting bigger. The flowers, orchids flown in from Thailand. She insisted. The invitations, embossed with real gold leaf. The open bar featured champagne that cost $200 a bottle. I felt like I was being robbed, but I kept paying, because I loved my son. I was willing to sacrifice my comfort for his happiness, but I was starting to realize that his happiness was built on a lie. It was the comments that really started to worry me. Subtle digs, constant complaints disguised as dreams. "Ethan's apartment is so quaint," she'd said over dinner one night, wrinkling her nose, "but terribly small for a married couple. Don't you think, Robert? We need space. We need a proper home. A proper home." As if the apartment Ethan worked so hard for wasn't good enough. She suggested Ethan needed a new car. Something European. A BMW or a Mercedes. Something that reflected his new status. She didn't understand. Status isn't something you buy. It's something you earn. I tried to chalk it up to wedding stress. I didn't want to be the cynical father. But tonight, watching her glide across the dance floor, the unease felt heavy in my chest, a physical weight making it hard to breathe. I felt like I was watching a storm gather, and I was powerless to stop it. My daughter Sarah walked up beside me. She held a glass of wine, swirling it nervously. Sarah was Ethan's older sister. She was sharp, observant. She had Linda's strength and my skepticism. She saw the world clearly. "They look happy, don't they, Dad?" she said. Her voice was tight, her eyes fixed on the dancing couple. "They do," I replied, forcing a smile. I didn't feel. Chloe's been talking nonstop about the honeymoon. Sarah continued, leaning closer. The music swelled, covering our conversation. "First class to the Maldives. Overwater bungalows. It's costing a fortune." "I know. I paid for it," I said. The tightness in my chest increased. "That's not what I mean, Dad," Sarah said, her voice dropping lower. It's what she said next that scared me. She keeps asking Ethan when he's going to get full access to his trust fund. Linda and I had set up trust funds for the kids, money for their future. For a house. It wasn't a massive fortune, but it was substantial. A solid foundation. He already has access, Sarah. It's his money. He's a grown man. We have to trust his judgment. I was lying to myself. I trust his judgment. I don't trust hers, Sarah snapped. Her eyes flashed with anger. It's the way she asks, Dad. Like she's calculating the assets, checking inventory. She paused, looking around nervously before continuing. And there's something else. Something I saw today. What is it? I asked, my stomach twisting into a knot. While they were getting ready at the hotel, Sarah whispered. She was on the phone. I heard her through the door. Who was she talking to? A real estate agent. A man named David Chen. A real estate agent. Today? On her wedding day. The idea was absurd. Obscene. Yes, she was talking about this huge house on Oakwood Avenue. The multi-million-dollar one. The one with the pillars. The one that looks like a courthouse. Oakwood Avenue. The most expensive neighborhood in the city. The houses there weren't homes. They were statements of wealth. I sighed, rubbing the back of my neck. Sarah, let them dream. It's their wedding day. I tried to convince myself as much as her. Some dreams are dangerous, Dad, she whispered. The fear in her eyes mirrored my own. I don't trust her. I think she's playing him. Be careful. She walked away. I tried to shake off her warning. I raised my glass, catching Ethan's eye. He smiled. Pure joy, I smiled back, pushing the doubt away. I had to believe this was real. But the doubt wouldn't stay buried. The evening wore on. Dinner was served. My best chefs, Maria and her team, pulled out all the stops. It was a feast meant to celebrate love. I noticed one of the bridesmaids, a young woman with nervous eyes named Jessica. She kept watching Chloe with a mixture of awe and discomfort. She seemed out of place, like she was hiding a secret she couldn't keep. The speeches were emotional. Sarah spoke beautifully about Ethan's kindness. When it was my turn, I spoke about Linda. How proud she would be. I spoke about building a life on honesty and hard work, not material possession. I looked right at Chloe when I said that. She just smiled, unfazed. I welcomed Chloe into our family. I meant every word, despite my reservations. She was Ethan's wife now. She was family, and family meant everything, or so I thought. After the speeches, the music picked up. People mingled. I was talking to my old friend Mark. He's my accountant, the closest thing I have to a brother. Mark was a sharp man. He didn't miss much. She seems lovely, Robert, Mark said, sipping his scotch. But his eyes were serious. He chewed on his lower lip, a habit he had when he was worried. But these bills, you're bleeding money, faster than you should be. It's once in a lifetime, Mark. Mark leaned in closer. Robert, I ran a background check on Chloe. Standard procedure when someone marries into a family with significant assets. I stiffened. You what? Mark, that's invasive. Ethan would be furious. It's necessary, he insisted, his voice low, and I found some things. Debts? A lot of them, hidden under shell names, credit cards maxed out everywhere. He paused, looking grim, and connections to some unsavory characters. Loan sharks, Robert. My blood ran cold. Loan sharks? What had my son gotten himself into? Before Mark could explain further, I felt a light tap on my shoulder. It was Chloe. Robert, can I steal you for a moment? She asked. Her smile was dazzling. Ethan was across the room with his college buddies. Oblivious. Of course, I said, glancing at Mark. He nodded grimly, a silent warning. She led me away from the crowd, towards the patio doors, towards the moment that would shatter my world. The restaurant has a large terrace. Tonight, it was decorated with thousands of fairy lights, twinkling like captured stars. The music was loud inside, providing a curtain of sound. The night air was cool, a welcome relief. I just wanted to thank you again, Robert, she said. She placed a perfectly manicured hand on my arm. Her touch felt cold, colder than the night air. This wedding is everything I dreamed of. I'm glad, Chloe. We want you both to be happy. Her expression shifted. The dazzling smile remained, but her eyes turned cold, hard as diamonds. They scanned the patio, making sure we were alone. The shift was terrifying. Happy, yes, but we need to be comfortable too, she said. Her voice dropped to a low whisper. The sweetness was gone, replaced by a sharp metallic edge. The silence stretched. The fairy lights seemed suddenly harsh. Ethan is stressed about money, she continued. He worries about providing for me. I frowned. Ethan has a good job. He has his trust. They'll be fine. They just need to be smart. Budget well. She leaned in closer. The smell of expensive perfume and champagne was overwhelming, suddenly sickening. They won't be fine in that tiny apartment, Robert. I have certain expectations. Then she delivered the ultimatum. I am not going to live like a pauper after marrying into this family. I felt my blood pressure rise. The audacity, the entitlement. I pulled my arm away from her grasp. Expectations, marriage is about love, Chloe. Partnership, not about, she cut me off. Her whisper turned into a hiss. Her grip found my arm again. Tighter this time, her nails dug into my skin. Listen to me, old man. Old man. The disrespect was intentional. A power play. My heart hammered against my ribs. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the monster beneath the makeup. I know exactly how much you're worth, she hissed. I know about the restaurant, the savings, the investment properties, the life insurance policy from Linda. You have millions. I stared at her, stunned by the sudden viciousness. The mask was off. The ugliness beneath the beauty was terrifying. What are you talking about? My voice was low, dangerous. The house on Oakwood Avenue. The mansion, she said, confirming Sarah's fears. It's $3.5 million. You are going to buy it for us. Cash. By the end of the week, I almost laughed. The sheer scale of the demand was insane. Chloe, that's ridiculous. I can't do that. And even if I could, I wouldn't. You two need to build your own life. I've already given you more than enough. My refusal was firm. I would not finance this madness. But she didn't even blink. Her eyes were dead, devoid of emotion except greed. Yes, you will, she stated flatly. You will buy us that house, or I swear to God, Robert, I will walk back in there right now, tear my dress, and scream at the top of my lungs. Scream what? I asked. My heart pounded. A cold dread washed over me. I knew what was coming, but I couldn't believe she would actually say it. She leaned in until her lips were almost touching my ear. The words she spoke felt like ice water injected into my veins. I will tell everyone that I am pregnant. She paused for effect, letting the lie hang in the air. And I will tell them that the baby is yours. I recoiled as if I had been struck. The breath left my body. I stared at her, horrified, disgusted. The sheer evil of the threat was breathtaking. It was a nuclear option, designed to destroy everything I held dear. My reputation, my business. The memory of Linda, my relationship with my children. You're insane, I whispered. My throat felt tight. I couldn't breathe. Am I? Think about it, Robert, she sneered. A cruel smile twisted her lips. Who will they believe? The respectable widower? Or the beautiful young bride assaulted by her lonely father-in-law? She painted the picture with sickening detail. We've spent a lot of time alone planning this wedding. I'll tell them you forced yourself on me. I'll cry. I'm very good at crying. She was right. It was a disgusting, tabloid-ready story. The mud would stick. A lie that's shocking, that vile often drowned out the truth. The damage would be done. The whispers would never stop. I'll ruin you, she continued, her voice dripping with venom. I'll destroy your business. No one will want to eat at a restaurant owned by a predator. Then came the worst threat of all, the one aimed directly at my heart. I'll destroy your relationship with Ethan. He'll hate you. He will never speak to you again. You will lose everything. I looked past her into the brightly lit room. My son was celebrating the happiest day of his life. He was marrying a monster, and he had no idea. I had to protect him, but how? You have until the cake cutting, Chloe said coldly. The mask of the blushing bride slid back into place, as if nothing had happened. Decide, the house or your life. She turned and walked gracefully back into the party, leaving me alone in the cold. The jazz music, once so cheerful, now sounded grotesque, a soundtrack to the nightmare unfolding around me. I stood there, paralyzed. The weight of her threat suffocated me. I leaned against the railing of the terrace. My hands were shaking. My mind raced, searching for an escape route, a solution, anything. I had to make a choice, a terrible, impossible choice. If I gave in, I would be sacrificing my life's work. $3. It wasn't just money. It was Linda's legacy. But it wasn't just about the money. If I paid her now, she would own me. The demands would never end. She would bleed me dry. And she would destroy Ethan in the process. But if I refused, the consequences were catastrophic. The lie was so disgusting, and the thought of Ethan believing it, the pain and betrayal he would feel, it was unbearable. He had already lost his mother. I couldn't let him lose his father too. Not like this. I felt cornered, broken. I needed air. I needed to think. I stumbled away from the patio, not towards the party, towards the back hallway where my office was. I needed a moment of solitude to find the strength to fight back. As I turned the corner, I saw someone standing near the back exit. A man in a sharp suit, smoking a cigarette. He looked up, startled, then quickly turned away, walking towards the parking lot. Who was that? I didn't recognize him. But something about him felt wrong. Dangerous. I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts. I didn't have time for mysteries. I had a disaster to prevent. I continued down the hallway, but I nearly ran into Ethan. Dad, there you are. He beamed, throwing an arm around my shoulder. He was flushed from the champagne, his eyes shining with happiness. We were looking for you, he said. Chloe said you were feeling a bit faint. She was worried about you. Are you okay? I looked at my son, his face so open, trusting. Chloe was already working on him, planting seeds, making me look weak. Unstable, she was already one step ahead. Yes, just a little overwhelmed, son, I managed to say. The deception tasted like ash in my mouth. Too much excitement. I get it, Dad. It's a big day, he said, squeezing my shoulder. His concern was genuine. It twisted the knife in my heart. Come on, the cake cutting is soon. Chloe's excited about the cake. He led me back towards the main room. I felt like a prisoner being led to the gallows. The clock was ticking. I had less than an hour to save my family, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. I saw Chloe across the room. She was chatting with Mayor Thompson, who was a guest tonight. A calculated move, building her credibility. She glanced at me, a smug, triumphant look in her eyes. She knew she had me. She thought she had won. I needed help. I couldn't do this alone. I scanned the room and spotted Sarah near the bar. She was talking to Mark. She looked worried, searching for me. I signaled to her, a subtle gesture we used since she was a child when something was wrong. Her eyes narrowed. She immediately excused herself and began moving towards me. Ethan, I need a quick word with your sister about the final vendor payments. I lied smoothly. The survival instinct had kicked in. Okay, Dad. Don't be long. He kissed my cheek and walked back towards his bride, back towards the Viper waiting to strike. I met Sarah in the hallway leading to the restrooms. What is it? You look like you've seen a ghost. Dad, you're trembling, she said. Pulling me aside, I pulled her into the small alcove near the coat check. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The words tumbled out, a torrent of fear and rage. I told her everything. The demand for the $3.5 million house. The threat, the horrific lie Chloe planned to use. Sarah's reaction was immediate, visceral. Her face turned pale, then flushed with rage. Her hands clenched into fists. That absolute monster, she hissed, her voice shaking with fury. I knew it. I knew she was rotten. We have to tell Ethan. Now, she said, her protective instincts taking over. She started to move towards the main room, ready for a confrontation. I grabbed her arm. Wait, Sarah. Stop. Think. Why? Dad, she's trying to destroy you. She's trying to blackmail you with the most disgusting lie imaginable. I know, but think strategically, I pleaded. If we accuse her now, what happens? It's my word against hers. She will deny everything. She will cry. She will say I misunderstood, that I'm making it up because I don't approve of her. But the threat, people will see through her. Will they? Sarah, she is convincing. Look around. Everyone loves her. Ethan adores her. He is blind right now. He is under her spell. I had to make her understand the stakes. If we handle this wrong, we don't just lose the argument. We lose Ethan forever. She will make sure of that. Sarah stopped. The horrible truth hit her. We were trapped. The despair, I felt, mirrored on her face. So what do we do? Give her the money? Let her win? Sarah asked. Tears of frustration welled in her eyes. We can't, Dad. We can't let her do this to Mom's memory. Never, I said. My voice hardened. The shock was fading, replaced by a cold, calculated resolve. I'd faced challenges before. I built this business. I survived losing Linda. I would not be broken by this woman. I will not let her desecrate Linda's memory. I just need proof. I need undeniable proof. We stood there in silence. The clock was ticking. Less than 30 minutes. Until the cake cutting. How do we get proof? Sarah asked. She's too smart to repeat that threat. We brainstormed frantically, recording her. Too obvious. Wait, I said, remembering the nervous bridesmaid. Jessica, she looked terrified earlier. Maybe she knows something. I had to try. It was our only chance. I found Jessica near the exit, twisting her bracelet. She looked like she wanted to run. Jessica, I said gently, can I talk to you for a moment? She jumped, startled. Oh, Mr. Robert, I have to go. She avoided eye contact. Please, I pleaded. It's about Chloe. It's about Ethan. I know something is wrong. You look scared. Jessica burst into tears. I can't. She'll ruin me. She knows things about me, things that could get me fired. She threatened to tell my boss. I've been stealing. Were you? I asked. No, but she has proof. Fake proof? Jessica sobbed. Chloe was blackmailing everyone. She's already trying to ruin me, I said, my voice raw. She's threatening to destroy my family with a horrible lie, a sexual accusation against me. Jessica looked horrified. She actually did it. She told me she was joking about that, practicing her negotiation skills. She wasn't joking. Please, Jessica, help me. Jessica took a shaky breath. I don't have proof of the blackmail, but I know she's lying about loving Ethan. She's still seeing her ex, Jace Hayes, a name I hadn't heard before. The man I saw outside earlier, I realized. Sharp suit? Smoking? Jessica nodded, wiping her eyes. That's him. He's waiting for her. She was planning to leave Ethan after the honeymoon, after she secured the money. Jason is the one she owes the money to. The loan sharks. Mark mentioned. Jason is connected to them. It was all clicking into place. The debts, the rush, the desperation. It was devastating, but still not enough to stop the blackmail against me. I needed more. I needed hard evidence of her threat. I returned to Sarah, defeated. She's cheating on him with a man named Jason. It's connected to debts, but it's not enough. It's still my word against hers. The situation seemed hopeless. Was I really going to have to choose between my life's work and my son? Then something clicked in Sarah's mind. Sarah's eyes widened. A sudden, unexpected twist of fate. A glimmer of hope. Dad, earlier today, at the hotel suite. What about it? I asked, impatient. Chloe and her bridesmaids, they were getting ready, drinking champagne. A lot of champagne. Chloe was already half drunk before the ceremony. Go on, I urged. A spark of hope ignited in my chest. She was being awful, just absolutely vile, bragging about the gifts, complaining about Ethan's friends, criticizing the flowers you picked. Then Sarah said the words that changed everything. She was being so loud and obnoxious, so cruel, that I started recording her on my phone. My heart leaped. You recorded her? Why? Honestly? I was going to show it to Ethan later. Maybe in a few months. I wanted him to see what she was really like when he wasn't around. She looked ashamed. She was mocking him, mocking you, mocking Mom. I needed evidence of her true character. I needed him to know the truth eventually. Where's the phone, Sarah? Where's the recording? My voice was urgent, desperate. In my purse. I left it in your office for safekeeping. We ran to my office at the back of the restaurant. The hallway was quiet. We burst in, locking the door behind us. Sarah fumbled through her purse and pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking as she opened the video file. It's long, she said, trembling. About 15 minutes. I just set it down on the vanity, facing the mirror, and let it record while I pretended to fix my makeup. We huddled over the small screen. The video showed the reflection of the hotel room. Women moving around, laughing. And then we heard Chloe's voice, loud and clear, slurred slightly, but unmistakable. He's so naive, it's almost sweet, Chloe's voice drawled, dripping with contempt. I told him I wanted the big ring, the 3-carat one, and he actually hesitated. Can you believe it? The nerve. I had to cry a little, but he caved eventually. They always do. My blood boiled. The way she talked about my son. So coldly. But this wasn't enough. It was mean, but it wasn't proof of her plan. But the father, Robert, he's the real prize, Chloe continued. I held my breath. This was it. The old man is sitting on a gold mine. The restaurant. The properties. And he's so desperate for Ethan to be happy. He'd do anything for his precious boy. It's pathetic, really. Then she went after Linda. He soutmans over his dead wife. Linda this, Linda that. It's disgusting. I told Ethan we need to get him into a retirement home soon, so we can take over the family business. Sarah gasped, covering her mouth. Tears of rage streamed down her face. I felt a surge of anger so intense it almost blinded me. How dare she mock Linda? How dare she plan to discard me like garbage? One of the bridesmaids asked something muffled. It sounded like Jessica. Oh, please. Love? Chloe laughed. A harsh, ugly sound. Love doesn't pay the bills. I didn't spend months charming Ethan just for love. I planned to drain the old man dry within 5 years. Then, confirmation of the affair and the motive. Jason needs his money back. And I need my lifestyle. Maybe I'll finally get back together with him once the money is secured. Jason knows how to treat a woman. Jason, the man outside. The debts. So true. She's a monster, Sarah whispered. Then came the part that made my stomach turn. The part that would destroy Ethan. The part that made me realize saving him was worth any price. And Ethan, in bed. Ach, don't even get me started. He's so clumsy and eager, like a puppy. The cruelty was staggering. Honestly, I can't stand being touched by him. It makes my skin crawl. I have to get drunk just to tolerate it. I just lie there and think about the shopping I'm going to do in Paris. I looked away, The humiliation my son was walking into was profound. This wasn't just about the money anymore. This was about saving him from a life of misery with a woman who despised him. But still, it wasn't direct proof of the blackmail threat she made on the patio. It proved her character. But I needed something more concrete to counter the accusation. I needed a smoking gun. "Is there anything else?" I asked, desperate. Time was running out. And then, near the end of the recording, the conversation shifted. "What if Robert says no?" Jessica asked. "What if he cuts you off?" "He seems tough." Chloe's voice turned cold and sharp, exactly like it had been on the patio. "He won't say no. I have an insurance policy. A foolproof one." "What kind of insurance policy?" "Let's just say I know how to handle older men," Chloe said, her voice laced with malice. "I'll make sure I get what I want, one way or another." A little accusation goes a long way. Then, the exact words we needed. A sexual harassment claim can be very persuasive. Men like Robert have everything to lose. Their reputation is their weakness. I'll use it against him if I have to. I'll destroy him. He'll wish he had just paid me. It was there. The smoking gun. It corroborated my story. It was damning. It was enough. Suddenly, a knock on the office door. We both jumped. "Robert? Are you in there?" It was Chloe. I quickly motioned for Sarah to hide the phone. I took a deep breath, composing myself, and opened the door. Chloe stood there, her smile tight, her eyes suspicious. "There you are. The cake cutting is in 5 minutes. We need to talk." "Now, about what, Chloe?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. The calm of certainty. "About the down payment for the Oakwood house. Your decision, father-in-law." Her eyes darted to Sarah, who stood behind me, her face a mask of barely concealed rage. Chloe knew something was up. The dynamic had shifted. She sensed the danger. "We will discuss it after the ceremony," I said, buying time. "No, we discuss it now, or I walk out there and announce my pregnancy." "Your choice." She was doubling down, escalating the threat, panicking. "Or you what?" Sarah interrupted, stepping forward, unable to contain her anger. "Or you'll lie? You'll make up some disgusting story to get what you want? Just like you planned?" Chloe's eyes widened in shock, then narrowed in fury. She realized we knew something. "How dare you, you spoiled little brat. Robert, control your daughter." She turned to me, her voice deadly serious. "Robert, tell me now. Yes or no? This is your last chance. Don't make me do this." I looked at this woman willing to destroy my family for a house. I thought about my son. I thought about Linda. "No," I said, my voice firm. Chloe smirked, a cruel, victorious look. "Wrong answer. You just lost everything." She turned to walk back towards the main room, ready to enact her horrible plan, ready to detonate the lie. "Wait," I said. She stopped, looking back triumphantly, thinking I was about to fold. "To beg. I have something I need to do first," I said. I knew what I had to do. The recording was a weapon, and I had to use it. The truth, however painful, was the only thing that could set us free. I wrestled with the decision for a moment. Exposing Chloe this way would publicly humiliate Ethan. It would crush his heart in front of everyone. It would turn his wedding day into a nightmare. Was saving my family's future worth destroying his present? I looked at Sarah. She nodded, tears in her eyes. She knew what I was thinking. The truth is like surgery. It hurts. It cuts deep, but it removes the disease. A lie is like a cancer. It grows in the dark until it kills you. I had to do it. I had to save my son. "Sarah, go to the DJ booth," I said, my voice firm. The plan crystallizing. "Tell them you need to sync your phone to the main speakers. Tell them it's a surprise video tribute for the bride and groom. Be quick." Sarah nodded and quickly walked away. "What are you doing?" Chloe asked, suspicion creeping into her voice. She started following Sarah, realizing the danger, the trap closing around her, giving you the attention you clearly crave, I said, intercepting her, blocking her path. I walked back into the main room. My heart hammered against my ribs. The lights were dimmed. The massive wedding cake stood in the center of the dance floor, illuminated by a spotlight, a symbol of the sweet future they were supposed to share. Ethan was waiting, smiling, holding the silver knife. I walked up to him. "Just a moment, son. We have a special presentation." I saw Sarah at the DJ booth. The DJ looked confused. Chloe was trying to reach the booth, but Mark, my accountant, sensing the tension, subtly blocked her path. He engaged her in conversation, distracting her. Sarah gave me a thumbs up. The phone was connected. I walked to the center of the dance floor. I took the microphone. "Friends, family," I began. My voice echoed in the large room. The chatter died down. Everyone turned to look at me. "Thank you all for being here today to celebrate Ethan and Chloe." I looked at Ethan. He was so happy. This was going to hurt so much. My heart ached for him. "Marriage is a sacred bond," I continued. "It's built on love, trust, and honesty." Chloe had managed to get past Mark. She was glaring at me, realizing something was terribly wrong. She started walking towards the stage, her face pale, her eyes wide with panic. "When I got married to Linda, we had nothing. We built this business from scratch. We taught our children the value of integrity, the value of truth." I turned to face Chloe directly. The room was silent, the tension palpable. "Chloe, you came to me earlier tonight out on the patio," I said, my voice clear and steady. Chloe's face went white. "Robert, don't," she whispered, trembling. "Trapped. You asked me for a house," I continued, raising my voice. A $3.5 million mansion. You demanded I buy it for you." The guests gasped. Whispers erupted. Ethan looked bewildered. "Dad, what are you talking about? This isn't funny." And when I said no, I said, looking straight into Chloe's eyes, "You threatened me. You threatened to tell everyone a vile, disgusting lie if I didn't give you what you wanted." I took a deep breath and delivered the blow. "You threatened to claim you were pregnant with my child." The room exploded. The shock was visceral. People jumped to their feet. Mayor Thompson looked horrified. My cousin, Officer Davis, who was attending as a guest near the back, stood up, looking alarmed. "He's lying," Chloe screamed, tears instantly springing to her eyes. She was good, a masterful performance. "He's trying to ruin my wedding. He never approved of me. He hates me." She turned to Ethan, sobbing hysterically. "Ethan, he's jealous. He can't stand seeing you happy. He wants to control you." Ethan looked torn, the doubt clear on his face. The agony tearing him apart. "Dad, why are you doing this?" "Apologize to her. Tell them it's not true." I felt a surge of fear. Had I made a mistake? The crowd was turning against me. Chloe's acting was flawless. She was winning. "He assaulted me," Chloe shrieked, playing her trump card, pointing a trembling finger at me. "He tried to touch me on the patio. He grabbed me. He's a monster. He's a predator." She was doing it, enacting the threat. The room erupted in chaos. Officer Davis started walking towards the stage. Mark rushed towards me, his face shocked. "Robert, what is this?" I held up my hands. "Wait, it's a lie. I would never. He's a predator." Chloe wailed, collapsing onto the floor in a heap of white silk. The broken victim. I looked at Sarah. "Now," I shouted into the microphone. Sarah hit the button. I calmly reached into my pocket and took out Sarah's phone, holding it up for everyone to see. The object that held the truth. The weapon that would destroy the lie. Suddenly the speakers crackled to life. It wasn't music that filled the room. It was Chloe's voice. The cold, drunken voice from the hotel room. "He's so naive, it's almost sweet." I had to cry a little, but he caved eventually. They always do. The room went dead silent. Chloe froze, her mouth open. The fake tears stopped instantly. She stared at the phone in my hand, recognizing the source, recognizing the trap. But the father, Robert, he's the real prize. The old man is sitting on a gold mine. He still moons over his dead wife. It's disgusting. Ethan stared at the speakers, his face draining of color, the betrayal sinking in. "Love doesn't pay the bills." I plan to drain the old man dry. Jason needs his money back. Maybe I'll finally get back together with him once the money is secured. The recording continued, each word a hammer blow shattering the illusion. Then came the worst part, the part that broke my son, and Ethan in bed. Ugh! He's so clumsy, and eager like a puppy. Honestly, I can't stand being touched by him. It makes my skin crawl. I looked at my son. He looked like he had been physically struck. The pain in his eyes was unbearable. He stumbled back, tears streaming down his face. This humiliation, public and profound. The recording reached the final segment. The insurance policy. A sexual harassment claim can be very persuasive. Men like Robert have it to lose. I'll use it against him if I have to. I'll destroy him. The recording stopped. The silence in the room was absolute. All eyes were on Chloe. Her mask had shattered. The beautiful bride was gone, replaced by the greedy, vicious monster I had seen on the patio. She looked around wildly, like a trapped animal. She saw the looks of disgust and horror. Jessica, the bridesmaid, was sobbing quietly, relieved the truth was out. And then she saw Ethan. He walked towards her slowly, his face a mask of devastation. Ethan, baby, that's not real, she stammered, reaching out to him, the desperation real this time. They edited it. It's a trick. Your father and your sister, they set me up. Don't believe them. Ethan stopped in front of her. He looked at her hand, the one wearing the expensive ring he had sacrificed so much for. He didn't say a word. He simply reached down, took his wedding ring off his own finger and held it out to her. Ethan, no, she begged. The reality crashing down. The house, the money, the lifestyle. It was all gone. He dropped the ring on the floor. It made a small, clinking sound that echoed in the silent room. Then he turned and walked away. He walked past me, past Sarah, past the stunned guests, and out the front door of the restaurant. Chloe let out a piercing scream. It wasn't a scream of sadness. It was a scream of pure, unadulterated rage. The sound of a predator caught in a trap. You, she shrieked at me. You ruined everything. I'll sue you. I'll destroy you. You old bastard. She lunged towards me, her nails bared, her face contorted in fury. Mark and Maria, my head chef, stepped in front of me, blocking her path. Officer Davis stepped up behind her. That's enough, Chloe, Mark said, his voice cold. You need to leave. Now. Ma'am, I suggest you comply, Officer Davis added, his hand resting on his handcuffs. Based on what I just heard, we need to have a conversation about extortion. This is my wedding, she screamed. Not anymore, Sarah said, stepping forward. The wedding is canceled. My chefs and Officer Davis escorted her out the back door, through the kitchen, past the dumpsters. As she was dragged out, I saw him again. Jason, he was standing by a sleek black car. He took one look at the scene, Chloe screaming. The police officer shook his head, got back in his car, and drove away. Chloe screamed his name, but he didn't look back. The party was over. The aftermath was a blur. The guests left quickly, whispering apologies, offering support. The room that had been so full of joy minutes before now felt cold and empty, like a tomb. The extravagant cake sat untouched, a monument to the disaster. Sarah, Mark, and I started cleaning up, working alongside my staff. We didn't talk much. What was there to say? I felt no triumph, no victory, just a profound sadness, an overwhelming exhaustion. I had saved my reputation. I had protected my assets, but I had shattered my son's heart in the process. I had done what was necessary, but the needs was devastating. Weeks passed. The scandal faded from the public eye. Chloe tried to sue for defamation. Mark connected me with a ruthless lawyer. They countersued for extortion and emotional distress. Her lawyers dropped the case once they heard the recording and saw the deposition from Turdix. We settled out of court. She got nothing. The marriage was quickly annulled. We later heard that Mark's investigation into her finances had triggered an audit. David Chin, the realtor, confirmed she had tried to use my financial information illegally to secure the loan for the Oakwood house. She was facing serious legal trouble for fraud and the extortion attempt. Jason disappeared. It turned out he was indeed connected to the loan sharks. He wanted nothing to do with her once the money dried up. Ethan moved back in with me. He was a shell of his former self. Quiet, withdrawn, consumed by grief and humiliation. He went to work, came home, and locked himself in his room. He barely spoke to me or Sarah. The house was silent, heavy with unspoken pain. I worried that Chloe had been right. I worried that the truth had cost me my son. The victory felt hollow, the silence in the house deafening. I gave him space. I let him grieve, but I made sure he knew I was there. I left food outside his door. I did his laundry. Small acts of service. The only way I knew how to show him I loved him. The restaurant felt heavy too. The memory of the wedding lingered. Business suffered for a while. The scandal kept some customers away, but slowly things returned to normal. Our loyal customers came back, offering support, understanding. The community rallied around us. One cold November, about 3 months later, I was closing up alone. It had been a slow night. I was wiping down the bar, lost in thought, when I heard footsteps behind me. It was Ethan. He looked tired, thinner, but there was a clarity in his eyes I hadn't seen since before he met Chloe. He sat down at the bar, looking at the bottles lined up against the mirror. "Can I help you close up, Dad?" he asked, quietly. I was surprised. He hadn't shown any interest in the restaurant since he came back. "Sure, son. I'd appreciate that." We worked in silence for a while, cleaning the kitchen, checking the inventory. The familiar routine was comforting, a shared rhythm that connected us without words. As we were getting ready to lock the front door, Ethan stopped. "She told me she was pregnant." "Dad," he said, his voice barely a whisper, staring at the floor. I turned to look at him, my heart aching. The final piece of the puzzle. The lie she used to trap him before she used it to threaten me. "That's why I rushed the wedding," he continued, tears welling in his eyes. "I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to be a father. I was so desperate for a family. He was so desperate to rebuild the family he lost when Linda died that he blinded himself to the truth. He let hope override his instincts. I ignored the signs. I ignored Sarah. I ignored you. I was so stupid." "You weren't stupid, Ethan," I said, putting a hand on his shoulder. "You were hopeful. You have a good heart. You saw the best in her. That's not a weakness. It's a strength. But you have to learn that not everyone deserves your trust." He leaned into my touch, the dam finally breaking. He sobbed, the grief and humiliation of the past months pouring out of him. I held him, just like I did when he was a little boy. "Well, it hurts so much, Dad," he choked out. "I loved the person I thought she was, the future I thought we would have. I know, son, I know." We stood there for a long time. Finally, the tears subsided. He wiped his eyes and took a shaky breath. "I'm sorry I shut you out," he said, looking at me, his eyes red but clear. I was angry. Not at you, at myself, at her. "But I know you saved me, Dad. You saved me from a life of misery. Thank you. You don't have to apologize, Ethan. I'm just glad you're back." He looked around the restaurant, at the photos of Linda on the walls, at the place we had built together. "Mum would have seen right through her, wouldn't she?" he asked. "In a heartbeat." I smiled sadly. "But she would have been proud of you. Proud of your resilience. Proud of your strength." "What do we do now?" he asked, the question hanging in the air. Full of uncertainty, but also hope, I looked at my son. The road ahead would be long. The healing would take time. But for the first time since the wedding, I knew we would be okay. We were broken, but not destroyed. "We move forward," I said. "We rebuild. We stick together. We'll get through this, Ethan. Together." He nodded. A small, genuine smile touched his lips for the first time in weeks. I turned off the lights in Linda's place. The darkness erased the ghosts of the wedding, leaving only the quiet strength of the family that remained. We walked out into the cold night air, father and son, ready to face whatever came next. In the end, truth and loyalty were the only currency that mattered. And we were rich. Thanks for it, and please rate our story in the comments. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. Your support means a lot, because your time matters.